Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley and this is video log number 92. I can't see the Southern Pole Star. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong with my telescope, but it isn't there. So that's why the strapline for this video. I know we get a lot of stick for throwing these things out there, but if you can't see something, it's obviously not there. So I'm hoping a few people will put an explanation as to what the Southern Pole Star is and what it does in the comments below. I'm kind of stealing this idea from John Le Bon after he did a superb video highlighting the number of flat earthers. And while I love doing sort of globe debunkings and flat earth proof videos, I mean, D Murphy just did a superb, D Murphy 25, I'll put a link below, or allegedly Dave, did a letter to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it was superb. And to pick one part of that, you have him talking about, let's say, the horizon, and saying that if you can see boats going over the curve of the horizon in your forward-facing vision, but you've got a much wider expanse across the horizontal, you should see a curve on the horizontal, but you don't, which is a nice little flat earth proof. But in the case of D Murphy 25, he's had a little break and has now come back sort of all guns blazing with open letters. Now, the Southern Pole Star is something that, like satellites and us being criticised that we put out farcical information without any context in the video itself, I said very early on that satellites didn't exist, and it was just based on a little bit of limited research. I couldn't see any proof of them, lots of cartoons and fakery, so I just put it out there with that strapline. And luckily, all of the, what I called at the time, shills and what have you, put lots of great information about why they do exist, and it confirmed what I thought, which is that they don't, after doing tons and tons of research. So I'm hoping that someone's going to come along and say, well, you can't see it, but it is doing X, Y, and Z. Antonio's given me several explanations of why the Southern Pole Star has absolutely nothing to do with globe proof, but there's, like with every single flat earth proof out there, there's a globe proof that says the contrary, regardless of whether or not you're there to actually see it in the moment. So it's kind of an interesting one. The thing that JLB had got going for him in his video was a question that is easy to answer. And I say it's easy to answer. We can answer it ourselves by extrapolating the unconscious or the group collective mind, the hive mind, whatever you want to call it. So there's an experiment, if you want to call it that, that has a gumball machine. So if you imagine a glass container and it has a load of gumballs in it, and the game is that you guess how many gumballs there are in the container, and you pay a dollar or a pound and get your raffle ticket, you write down your guess. Now, you can take this information if you have a long list and a long enough list of people actually trying to give their guess on how many gumballs. When you average that data, you actually come up with a pretty accurate, in some cases, if you've got a very, very high number of people, very accurate representation of the number of balls, sometimes to it being an exact number, amazingly. And John Le Bon has asked how many flat earthers there are. And in my comment, I said 100,000 in the Western world, although he was saying worldwide. And I didn't give any justification, I just said it was a guess, which it was. Yes, I'd looked at the metrics. Yes, I'd looked at the various different information that's out there on YouTube videos, or even watched them as they gain the views. But none of it is verifiable. It's all meaningless. So you kind of maybe stroke your own ego when you're watching your own videos, because you can't double check. It's not a screen that you walk into at the cinema with a man with a little clicker counting. It's not like that. So we've got no way of verifying it, so we have no way of saying it's anything other than a guess when I guess how many flat earthers there are out there. But we all have an idea, a guess. So this video, in its main context, is to implore people to go and have a guess. Go on to John Le Bon's video. You don't have to tell him that it's a guess, a total guess. And if you do some research, as the video is requesting that, put it in the comments and say, this is why I think there are X number of flat earthers. Put your guess down. Hopefully lots and lots and lots of people will do that, and then we'll have some useful data. The hive mind will have all had a little guess. The more we do, the closer it should be. Now, again, the skeptic could come along and say, well, a lot of people's preconceived notions of how many people there are on the planet will weigh in and sway their judgment or change their viewpoint when it comes to guessing how many flat earthers there are. But nonetheless, we have our own experiences in the back of our minds, and we can only use those when we're making a guess. So I implore you all, there'll be a link in the description below. Go on to John LeBon's video and put a figure, a number, not millions, a number, an actual number. If you think it's millions, say, well, how many millions do I think it is? Not very many millions. 2 million, put 2 million in. If you think it's one person, you, and you are the centre of your own existence and no one else exists, put one, put a number, one. Again, like I say, if you do have reasons for it, put it in there and back it up. So yeah, I'm hoping we can actually get some numbers on that video. I'll go and have a look in a week or maybe a fortnight's time, and hopefully I'll do another video log saying, yeah, John's point has been brilliant and he's made it great, but we can actually use his video to see if we can put a decent number that does have a justifiable, validation behind it, or a reason for why we've come up with that number, that's based in actual people's, admittedly guesswork. But like with the gumball machine, we might be surprised with the number that we actually come out with. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.